Hey y'all, it's Jennifer DeGay with Remax Space Center coming with you today with today's community shout out with one of my favorite girls, Kelly Kasselman. How are you, Kelly?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. Just been one of those crazy, busy Mondays. You know how it works, how it goes.
I
I don't
agree.
know why it's always Mondays. It's so crazy. And I honestly forget sometimes what day of the week it is.
I
Um,
think we're still on like a kind of a weekend mode where we're still working, but yet it's kind of a little more relaxed than having to cram everything in during a typical work week, you know?
Oh yeah, no, it's been a little crazy. And for some of you who may not know Kelly, Kelly is actually the marketing, I would say the most creative marketing director out there at Texas American Title in Pearland. And we kind of titled the show today to be, do you suck at your job? Because one, I wanted to grab your attention, but there's been a lot of talk and a lot of posts, and I've heard a lot of clients and friends and family members all just kind of talking about, or maybe reevaluating their life would be probably a better way to put it because, we since we have been home and had the lockdown, I think a lot of people have reevaluated their lives. And, a lot of people started admitting, like, I'm not happy. I hate my job. I'm miserable. And it started to get me thinking, well, obviously, you can't perform your best and be the amazing person you are at home, at work, if you're not loving what you do. You have to love what you do. Like they always say, find your passion and love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life. And I know for myself and Kelly, we love to help people, but we also love to, get creative. We both love to draw and paint, and we're always fiddling around doing something. So, and I know you were just recently painting, weren't you, Kelly?
I was, yeah. I do a lot of painting and crafts and stuff like that. It's something that kind of feeds my soul and kind of recharges me and puts me in a good place. And then I can take that side and kind of blend it into my marketing ideas and just get creative with it, stay fresh and new, do something different all the time. And I don't like to really do a lot of the same things over and over, but there are some really good tidbits you like to put back into the cycle. So but just you got to just keep your mind and your perspective always fresh and new, because I mean the
Absolutely.
world's constantly changing around us, so we just need to stay on top of it. So doing that helps a lot.
Yes. So, whenever, I know my story, of course, but I guess, maybe tell everybody your story and how you were able to find, a career path that you absolutely love and you're able to, use your passions in your career.
Well, I guess in a way it you go through life and you do things. Some people do it longer than others. Some people find it right away and awesome. But I did a whole bunch of things that maybe I liked, maybe I hated, but definitely wasn't for me. And I I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get religious or anything, but I mean, I kind of have a feeling that God kind of put me where I'm supposed to be, and He put the people in my life and the steps I had to take to get there. And of course, you have to be ready, and mature enough to be able to take on a marketing role, because there is a lot of area to where if you can't stay focused and if you can't keep your eye on the prize, you can get in a lot of trouble. So um, I the proper people were put in my life. I finally got to this point, and I make a joke and I say that I'm finally now getting paid for all the things I used to get in trouble for. So going
Yeah.
and talking to everybody, just being social and staying away from the office and away from my desk, and in any other job, that's what you're supposed to do. So
Well,
now I
that's
get
true.
paid to do
Yes.
all that.
So, guys, if you have that child that's always busy talking at school, don't worry. There is hope.
Absolutely. If they doodle on their pages and if they're constantly, trying to find, new things to do all the time, I mean, they could be your future marketing rep. Absolutely.
Yes. Well, a lot of times people always say, it's so hard. I don't really know what it is, what would make me happy. And I always sit there and I say, okay, well, and a lot of times if they're someone who I'm close to, I'll already know the answers. But I'll say, you know what, name 5 or 6 things that you're passionate about. And I don't mean like, oh, I love to shop. I mean, no, y'all, I'm not talking about spending money. We're looking at, avenues, what really gets you going. Like for me, I know I am one of those people that, if something happens or, I see like people taking advantage of people or anything in those kinds of situations, or someone's maybe mistreating an elderly person, like I get amped up and like I can't stand people to be taken advantage of or hurt. And I always feel like I have to step in and kind of be their voice. But that's something that really kind of just fired. But I mean, that will light the fire on the inside of me. I don't even care how exhausted I might be. All of a sudden, it's like that fifth wind that kicks in, and I got, have this drive. So you really have to think about what gets you motivated, what gets you excited, because there's the other end of that, what gets you excited. But if you also look at the end of, or the part that will really get you going and get you passionate about things. People stand up right now. We have people that are protesting for, standing up on what they believe in. And so it's things like that. What's your passion? It can be for good, and it can be just because you're protective of a certain, class or a certain, age group, or maybe you're just passionate about gardening. I don't know. You just have to kind of figure out what that is. And really just
also too, personality plays a big role in that. I really do believe that, different personalities have their strengths in different areas. I would make a horrible engineer. I would make a horrible doctor or nurse. I mean, I can't see blood. I can't sit long enough to read through a whole whatever engineering documents and stuff they do. I don't even know what they do, but I know I couldn't do it. But, and I couldn't even be a dental hygienist, because if I see a tooth wiggle, I'm done. I am so done. So personality is, plays an intricate role in what you do or what position you allow yourself to take. I mean, how many times have you taken on a job thinking, oh, I could do the job, but your personality doesn't really mesh with the position, and you can do it, but you don't do it well. So I think that plays a big role in a lot of things. Absolutely.
I agree with you 100%. It's funny because I did take a semester, in sport reporting. And I realized, like, what in the world? Like, you don't even talk. You have to be quiet the entire time. And I'm thinking, no, I told my mom, like, I don't really like it, because you just sit there, and I can't sit there. And the more I thought about it, I thought, I can't just sit there all day long and not talk. I mean, I can't sit still, and Lord knows I can't talk. I mean,
yeah, I was, I was forever in school getting up and just to sharpen my pencil 5,000 times, or it's not my thing. And I know that about myself. And I just got to make sure if I ever have to sit through a long meeting or anything like that, I better have a lot of paper, because I'm going to be doodling and making some pretty things on paper. But if you ask me what you just said, I could probably repeat it back to you word for word. So, I might not look like I'm paying attention, but I am totally, keen on what's going on around me.
Yes. I get that. A lot of times people may not think that you are paying attention, but there's a lot of people who's, as I might say, as I read in psychology books, you operate on a little bit higher frequency. And so I was just telling my mom, where I feel like my brain sometimes feels like I have 100 pinballs, and I'm the pinball machine. And my brain's just going 90 miles an hour. But that really started happening when I started getting my health back in check, and I changed my diet and all of these things. It was like my brain came alive again. Thank goodness. But, for a lot of people, it's interesting too, because I've had friends, I have two friends actually, whose jobs were phased out because of technology. So that's another reason why some people are actually, really thinking about career changes, because they know that they are most likely going to be replaced here, very, very soon. And they can see, it's already being introduced in with their company, but they haven't quite let them go. So, and it's even, I can remember 10 years ago, I have a really good friend of mine, Paula, she came on the show a couple of weeks ago, and she was a transcriptionist. And when the AI took over, the I keep hearing a noise. Do you hear the noise?
I hear the crackle.
Yeah,
Is
I don't know.
Hearing?
Yeah, it's kind of like distracting. So if I seem a little distracted, y'all, I'm like, I don't even know where that's coming from.
It's all your brain waves.
Yeah, maybe. But her job was replaced by artificial intelligence, because you're our computers. We can talk to Siri and she'll transcribe everything for us. So there's just a life cycle for everything as we progress with technology. So again, I have a lot of people that I've heard kind of mention they're worried about things of that nature. So they are reconsidering. But you know what? For me, there's nothing like dealing with people.
Absolutely.
I'm one of those
connection is, that connection where you can actually ask a question and get an answer and not have to go through 20 different steps or push 20 different numbers,
Right.
Yeah.
No,
I love talking to people.
I get so annoyed if I have to call and it's like this. Yeah, press one, and then you end up, sitting there on the phone forever.
Yes.
It's too much for me. I need I need people. That's what I like. Like the other day I had to call the Pearland State Bank, and it was like I had a question, and they literally they didn't even put me on hold, and I could hear the lady like asking the guy maybe next door or something, and I thought, well, this is great. I got my answer right away. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have to go through this long rigmarole of, pushing buttons. So,
or trying to speak clearly so they can understand the commands. I'm like, I'm just going to push 0 1,000 times till somebody picks up the phone, because I'm done.
Half the time they don't understand me, because I guess I do have an accent, maybe a little. So,
but your face, you're perfect.
Yeah, you're funny. But, when it comes to creativity, y'all, Kelly has been really awesome at some of the things that she has done with her, just with your marketing at work. I mean, I know you on a personal level, so I already know all this about you. But what is one of your favorite things that you've done?
Oh, my gosh.
Is there anything in particular that stands out?
I don't know, because I'm constantly just pumping stuff out. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I love Photoshop. I love to just do dumb stuff on Photoshop, just because I like to try to keep things fun and human, and, but I mean, just now you put me on the spot. I don't even know, but I constantly just try to like to do something different. I love Photoshop. I love to take somebody's head and impose it on something. And I don't know. I like being dumb.
Right. Well, it works, because let me tell y'all, Kelly, Laura says hi.
Hi.
Can you see it on the screen?
No.
No, it says Laura. It's Laura Ortiz, by the way.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, I was looking at the wrong place.
Yeah. Hey, Dad.
It's very new to me.
Yeah. And yeah, so y'all, Kelly, she actually, on my birthday, I mean, the lockdown just started, and I thought, here we go. Okay, this is gonna be the best birthday, right? Being in quarantine. Because at that point, I didn't know anyone personally that had a birthday during a quarantine. So I literally was one of the first, I think. And anyways, Kelly shows up at my house, and she calls me, and she's like, come outside. And I thought, oh Lord, what has she done? And she was in a plastic tent. I don't even know what you call
weather pod. It's called a weather pod for like
a weather pod
sports events. Yeah.
My bad. I didn't even know they made weather pods, but now I do. And of course, she serenaded me with singing "Happy Birthday" and then brought me some goodies. But that there was so creative. Like, how did you come up with that?
I don't know because I'm dumb. I just do
No,
stuff.
you're not
Oh,
done. But it's always little things like that that always make people feel good. It doesn't even have to be like I tell everybody. It doesn't have to be expensive, but when you really put the thought and effort into something, it means so much more. And that was definitely one of those times where you made me feel like I was a special girl.
well, you are special. I love you. You're
Yeah.
amazing. But the
Well,
thing is, too, is, my agents, whether I work with them a couple times or I work with them all the time, I I don't think of them as real estate agents or mortgage people or whatever. That I mean, my personality is very much when I meet you, I love you first until you give me a reason. And
mhm.
really, I love everybody I work with. I love what I do. I think everybody's my friend. I put my whole heart into things, and I think people can tell when you do. People can tell when you put your whole heart in. And I don't know. I mean, I figure if I just go and I do the things that I think are funny or sweet or nice or that I would like somebody to do for me, and just just do it and make somebody happy and don't think about what's in return. I don't think about what's coming in return. I mean, if you're a new agent and I do for you, whether I do for my other agents, and maybe you're an agent that has never sent me anything, but if you're a part of this group or this brokerage, I'm still going to do for you because I never want you to say, "Oh, she treats everybody so nice, but she never pays attention to me." I mean, maybe we'll work together now, maybe we'll work together in a couple of years, who knows? But either which way, you are still a human and I still respect you and I would still want to do something for you that I would want to. So I just follow my heart and I put it into everything. And you can tell when people do that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think that goes to, any business, owner or anybody that's in a business dealing with customers. That's just part of that customer service, right? Like being nice to everyone. And I mean, I think if you are truly a nice person and not necessarily just, putting on an act, because, joy is something that we should all have, right? And,
Absolutely.
you know, just like it says in the Bible, let your light shine. And so, I mean, that's what it's going to attract people to you. And so you've got to have that true inner happiness, that true joy that's going to project out and really, it's like a magnet. People love it. I mean, it's a one thing. It's like I always, like when we go to the store and stuff, it's like babies, like they always like smile and wave at me. And of course, I'm like, oh, I guess it must be because I'm funny looking. But I think what it is they can just feel your energy. I think they realize they can really tune into that kind of stuff. And so people may not even realize that they can as well. But, have you ever heard someone, or maybe you've even said, like, I don't know what it is about her, but I like her or him? Like there's something about them that they
Yeah.
just
Well,
seem
I'm
like
a big energy person, so I thrive off of other. That's why the quarantine was so hard because I didn't have that recharge that I get from other people's energies. And
Mhm.
I mean, I'm very much in tune with people's energies, and it's a big thing for me. So now
Right.
sometimes if I walk in and I'm unsure of someone's energy, I'm not going to treat them either which way. I might not choose to get too close because I mean, your little spidey senses go off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you just kind of go with your gut and yeah, you'll be led to the people you're supposed to be with and you just have to be open to pay attention. A lot of times we get distracted and there are times we don't pay attention and we end up paying the cost for it.
Right.
So but yeah,
Absolutely.
I totally believe in the whole energy thing and being led to people and it being magnetic because it it's so strong. It's kind of undeniable. Like it's a hard, like if somebody wanted to debate that, it would be interesting because of all the science and all the, I don't know. To me, it's just, I can feel it. It's undebatable to me.
Well, it's true. Like I studied psychology in college, and I just do it now for fun and read a lot of different books, and you can feel that. I mean, it's just like if you've ever walked into a room and you're like, oh, you can use a chainsaw to cut the air, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And, and that's something, y'all, if you think that, if you hate your job and you're like, oh, well, I'm really good at, pretending like when customers come in. No, you're not. You're not fooling anybody. I can tell y'all how many times I've whether it's been at the grocery store checkout line or if it's been, at the doctor's office, I can tell, someone's like, yeah, how may I help you? I mean, and you're like, what? Like you just stole my joy. Like now I'm not happy because I feel like there's something wrong with you. You look depressed, you sound depressed, and you're putting off really depressed energy. So when I have that negative, so you're not doing a favor to me, you're not doing a favor to yourself. People can still sense, even when we're maybe struggling with maybe personal issues, if you have a parent or someone in the hospital and you're a little worried and stressed out, people, even though you're playing, the happy person at work and not letting it, or trying not to let it affect you, or people would notice. I think there's still many times where people don't realize people do actually notice that there's just something off, so you have to be really careful.
In the eyes don't lie. So
the eyes don't lie. No. And that's something where you have to be careful about, Kelly, with the drawing, because that's what people want, your full attention. You have the different personalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to mold with everyone, because it's funny, you talked about with engineers, and typically with type A people, they want your eyes looking at them, right? Because they want to feel important. And so there's so many different things that you have to be careful you're not doing. Like, they say with your phone, when you're in a meeting, don't set it on the table in front of you, in front of your client, because that makes them feel uncomfortable. It's like you don't really care that there's some phone call that may happen and take precedence, and something else is more important. So you have to be really careful with your body language, and using the tools that we have to make sure people don't feel like they're not important, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel important. So,
well, and time is the most important thing you have. I mean, if you can just devote a little bit of time, even if it's just for a hot second, you're like, hey, I don't have a lot of time, but I just wanted to stop by to see how you're doing and to say hi. I mean, if you let them know ahead of time that, hey, this is just for a second. I just was thinking if you wanted to run in, say hi, see how you're doing, but I'll call you later. Maybe we can hang out or something. That's super nice too. People appreciate that because they understand you're in a hurry and they understand you have things to do. But the fact that you took that, quick second just to pop in for them, that's huge. And it's very much appreciated.
And it does.
That goes with following your heart. It's the same thing with doing what you would like others to do for you. So, but if you have a job that you can't be yourself and put your whole heart into, then you probably need to do some soul searching, because there's something for you, just not what you're currently doing.
Yes. And sometimes, if you're in a place where you're not happy, that could really be the motivation to figure out what will make you happy. I can tell you, I have worked a job. I've always pretty much worked in real estate since I was in high school, when I would, do open houses for other agents. But when I was 18, 19, I did work at an engineering, firm with, where my dad worked. And he'll tell you, I was miserable. I hated it. I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm going to be going and doing my own thing. Cause I didn't like the people that I was in an office with. I didn't like what I was doing. It was too mundane. There was no, there was absolutely zero creativity. And it was literally more of a data entry kind of a position. So I was miserable and bored out of my gourd. So, and it's important that you do. And I'm going to say this because anyone, if you have employees in your office and they don't like what they do and they're miserable, go ahead and get rid of them because you're costing yourself money. Rip that Band-Aid off. One of the big things, and Kelly can back me up on this, everyone is really big about creating that culture right now, right? And in order to have, that culture, and what I mean by culture too is having that synergy in your office or in your department, whatever it is, your management team, that synergy is what people feed off of. And if you have that one person who's miserable and they just don't like what they do, and people that are miserable like that are not going to put 100% into their position. They're not going to give you 100%.
It drags everyone down too. It really drags them down.
And it's going to cost you. They're going to cost you money. So I know sometimes it's hard for people, because they're nice and they may actually like them and they might actually be great people. They're just not great for that position. So if you can find another position, maybe within your company to stay, that would be maybe a little bit better suited for them. If not, go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off because you can't afford to cost your money, especially if you're a small, business owner. That can really suck you dry.
Well, and you could also have those conversations with people and dig deep to find what their passions are or what makes them shine. Because sometimes if we can give them something to make them shine and to feel good about themselves, it's kind of a reboot. But then again, if it's a constant, always falling back into the same old rhythm, then that's another issue. But, always try to find some way to have somebody shine and boost their confidence. It boosts, their self-worth. It's amazing the things that people can share when they actually feel good about themselves.
Yeah. And you always know, I always bring up this book a lot, but there's a book called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I've read it many times, many, many years ago when I read it the first time. I think if you read that, it also kind of helps you or gives you an inside look at yourself as to what makes you feel good and feel needed. And a lot of times, if you're doing what you need emotionally, you're really going to perform well. So there's people out there that, hey, they need that little pat on the back for sweeping.
The words of affirmation. I'm an acts of service. I score very high in acts of service.
Mm-hmm. And it's, and it's kind of, some people have asked me in the past, is it like the DISC? And I'm like, no, it's not quite. I mean, that's a little bit more about job performance and the kind of person you are, where this is more really about emotions. It's about the psychology of what makes somebody feel good. And when someone feels good, again, you're going to get the most out of it. So, it's funny because, as a small business owner, and Kelly, you're in management, you understand, what it's like to have a group of people. Because how many do y'all have in your office now?
We have Heidi, Esmeralda, and Joanne that are our closers, and we have Brianna, who's our processor. So with plus me is 5.
Yeah. So, and 5 ladies. That can always be a challenge, at times. So, but every personality.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking over you. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just saying there's just so many different personalities.
Well, that's what I was, getting on. They're all so different, but they're also fabulous in their own ways. So it's interesting to work with a whole group of women, but it's fun.
Yes. I don't know. I'm sorry. Debbie Richardson says hello. Hey, Debbie. I miss you. I haven't seen you in forever. I know she's got her beautiful grandbaby. I always love seeing her little pictures. But, to get back what we're saying, yeah. So, I think for a lot of us, even agents that have teams or, again, it doesn't matter what business you are in, whether you are management or if you own a business, big or small, or you're just an employee at a business in a group setting. If you understand how everyone ticks, you can actually learn to become a very smooth, cohesive workforce. And, and that's so important to understand what makes everyone tick. Because I know, again, Kelly's creative. Okay. This person is very, OCD and likes to organize. And this really helps people, be able to assign tasks and okay, this is going to be, your job. And even though they might have their jobs, but I mean, their strengths, right? That's what, so like, I'm sure like in your office, everyone has their strength, and then you always see the people that are probably helping out on maybe their weaknesses. But we all have strengths and weaknesses, right?
I love how everybody bands together. I think that's so important to be successful. That's number one. You have to be able to support each other. So, but yeah, the strengths and weaknesses is interesting, because even though I have 3 closers, it's it's so interesting. They do the same job, but they do it differently. So I don't know. It's kind of cool, because then I have 3 different personalities with 3 different strengths that I can try to pair up with the right agents. And I tell you what, they shine at what they do. So I'm really appreciative for my team. They're smart and brilliant and amazing, and I love them.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, you spend so much time with, your coworkers. It's really great when you can like them, because, I actually, we both know someone very well who is miserable at their job. Oh my gosh, I hear it so often. But that's because the owner of the company is a jerk. And there's there's never any like anything positive that comes out of his mouth. It's always negative. And, he doesn't even go into the office very often, but when he does, it's because he's ready to yell and scream and rip everyone's head off. And I'm thinking, well, no wonder why nobody is happy there. I mean, and I just wish like people like that, with that type of, person. I don't really understand that though. Why, if you own a business, if you want your employees to do more, you should know that you're going to get more with honey. I mean, that's not a saying for nothing, right? I mean, you mistreat people.
I think
then
people forget. I think they forget. I think they get so bogged down by the stresses of everything that they forget. And that's sad, because it might have started out as something they loved, but they let all the negative stuff get in, and they forgot why they started the business or got into the business in the first place. So people need time to reflect and remember where they were before they started and why it was that their heart led them there. And too many times people just forget, and it's sad.
And sometimes, if you own a business and you understand, some people are just out there working for you because that's all they can find. And that might not be their passion, but they might be good at what they do. But if you treat them like crap, you're going to cost yourself a lot of money, because nobody is going to want to really put forth the extra effort to increase sales, or to, whatever it is. Typically, I guess it would be sales, because I have actually worked for a sales manager, and when I used to lease out apartments when I was younger, you would have to lease out X amount. And I don't remember what it was that, I think it was like right after there was a hurricane or something, and there wasn't much going on at that time. It was just like a week, and it was, they're putting the pressure on, and it's like, I was so frustrated, because it was like, I've always done so well, and I exceeded my goals all the other 11 months. And this 1 week, you're like giving me a hard time. It was just like, I just felt undervalued and unappreciated. And well, ultimately I left, because I wasn't going to tolerate just being mistreated. So,
but isn't that amazing how the negative always outshines all the positive? Somebody could come in and you be doing great, and they just expect you to do great. And you have 1 month where you're off, and they just really, steal your joy. And that's what sticks with you. And it's so sad that it just takes a little bit of negative to override all the positive. You know what I mean? It's just, it's so hurtful that negativity has such a powerful hold. And I wish it were the opposite. It should be the opposite, but it just doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was actually I was watching a documentary, and it was kind of weird because this child, it was a long story, but anyways, she was very quiet and reserved, and they never really understood what was wrong with her, what her parents, after a long story or had a long meeting with the counselor and the family, she was like, y'all never really like praised me. And they were like, what do you mean? You were like the best child. And she was like, well, you never told me. And they were, it was so crazy because she had a brother that was always, and I think he had ADD, ADHD. And so he was always hyper and always into anything. So when, he was actually behaving, the mom, was always cheering him like, oh, wow, you're so good, But because the attention was always on him because he was constantly into something or, couldn't sit still or trying to run around in a restaurant. And the little girl was listened and she followed the instructions and did exactly what she was supposed to do. And she was so good that she felt like she was forgotten about. And it's sad because she was such a good kid. And they were like, and the mom was like horrified because she never meant for that to happen. She was like, you were just the perfect child. I never had to get on to you about anything. But she never actually thought about, that she needed that praise. So, it affects the kids, and, it's funny how, like, with different rules and things, because I understand that we have to have rules because we are going to, grow up into the world and we have rules to follow. It's just the way it is, but with kids, I do see where you have two daughters.
I do.
And I would bet that you would probably, you have to handle them differently.
I do. They different personalities, most definitely.
Right. That just, goes to anything. So like with my other girlfriend, I was telling her, like, she was saying it's so hard sometimes because she has to discipline her kids differently because what works for one doesn't necessarily work for the other. And they're not bad. I mean, just normal, everyday things. Right. But I think that kind of still applies even as adults.
Yeah, it goes into what you were saying earlier about being able to adapt to different personalities. It's the same exact thing. I worked at Goodwill for a while, and that was an eye-opening experience. I was a manager over there, and it was one of my stops along the way until I found my purpose. But it was such an eye-opening experience to be able to learn about people from every walk of life possible. And I learned that there are people who, when you are talking to people who maybe have been emotionally abused or have had some sort of addiction, that when you're just talking about a typical normal thing, they get very defensive. And so you really have to be careful of your wording and body language when you're trying to discuss maybe nothing serious, but just something that needs to be talked about. They get very defensive. And so you really have to watch just everything about how you're presenting and approaching this person. And it's just interesting. I never in a million years would have known that if I had not had the opportunity to work there for a while, because I don't know, you just don't, wake up and think about it. But, they're constantly like apologizing or assuming the blame that doesn't belong to them. And it's very sad to know that they just constantly live in this turmoil. But they have a genuine heart and they have something, of real value. I mean, if they're honestly, sad and remorseful for some blame that didn't even belong to them, I mean, I don't know. It's just interesting how they get placed in a box and mislabeled a lot of times because people don't know how to talk to them. It's just interesting. A lot of people, no matter where they come from, get placed in a box because people don't know how to talk to different personalities or, approach different personalities. It's sad.
Right.
Really sad. And those are usually people put in management positions that, because we've all had bad managers. I'm not going to lie, I have too. And now my manager is amazing and I love her to death. And hi, Stacy. But I
think, like you said, God gives us a path. And if you're paying attention, you're going to end up in the right place where you are happy and doing what you love and working with people that you love. I mean, that's another part. I mean, it's always hard where you could be doing something you love, but if you're not in the right environment, you're still not going to grow. And, so again, I definitely believe in prayer, but I also believe in, being positive. There's a reason why they always say the power of positivity, the power of positive prayers. You've got to name it and claim it and act as if you've already received it. That's the other part. A lot of people forget to, people will name it and claim it, but they won't act as if they have already received it. That's key. So if you're already thanking God for putting you in that perfect position or finding that perfect career, even though you might not actually have it now, if you're thanking Him for it, you're going to get there. And because it's putting it out there, keeping you positive. And, my mom and my grandmother used to tell me all the time, be careful what you pray for because you might just get it. And so I learned that one. But because sometimes what you think you want may not actually be what you need. And
truly.
So,
but if you ever listen to like The Secret and the Law of Attraction and all that, there is another sequel to that, and it talks about how, if you truly want the universe or whoever your universe is, if it's God or whoever, but just to be neutral, if you truly want the universe to bless you, then you have to be truly grateful for the things you already have. And unless you are truly grateful for the things you already have, you have no room to receive any other blessings. So, we all need to take a minute and be grateful. And you never know what could open up in your life, in your work, in anything. But you got to take stock of, like all the blessings that have come your way and know that it's with you and the universe and everything else. You got to acknowledge that.
And what I was saying was basically the law of attraction, right? Like when you believe it and you see it and but you're also being very positive. If you put positive energy out, you're going to receive positive energy back.
Absolutely.
And that's why you have to be careful with what you pray for and what you think about, because what you think about, whatever negativity you allow in your brain, you're bringing it into existence by thinking it. And you have to stop that. Yeah. And, we have to, God bless
Bonnie's
you.
Mad. Bonnie.
Oh, I thought Bonnie sneezed. That's her dog, y'all.
No, she started barking at something random. I don't know. She's crazy.
That's so funny. But it's funny because you said something about being defensive, and I have to say, it seems like that's become a very common thing lately. I feel like that's kind of everyone's defensive about everything, and personally, I feel like that's their own insecurities that's causing that. Because if there's something they're being defensive about, they need to take a good, deep look at themselves and figure out what their insecurity is and why they always feel like they're having to be defensive. Because if I make a mistake, and Kelly, I know you are the same way. If you and I make a mistake, something happens, we'll say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I want to fix this. How can I make it right?"
We're human. I mean, we're gonna make mistakes.
But it blows my mind when they're like, "I didn't do this. I've never done it." I'm like, "Okay, I'm just going to say it because nobody seems to be talking about it." But just like with Obamagate, your hand was in the cookie jar. Hello. I mean,
What?
you
Wait,
don't like. I don't understand. Like, how people can lie or know they did something, and then all of a sudden it's like in their head, like, "I didn't do that. I
girl, you
didn't."
getting political on me.
Well, I just use that as an example because it's true. I mean, but that's
Oh,
my
I love you.
but that's my opinion. But that's the great thing about living in the United States of
You
America.
voice your opinion.
I can,
Well,
I will be very respectful of anybody's opinion, right? So
absolutely.
I
No,
expect
you
the
always
same.
have been. Always have been. But I mean, I don't understand how just as a society people can walk around. Sometimes I feel like people are just on the defense all the time and looking to argue, and they start arguing about things that probably aren't even what's being discussed, and take offense to things that isn't even like what's in the topic of conversation, and they turn things around a lot of times, and that's where I have a problem. I'm just like, if you're in a job and you're doing your job the best of your ability, just keep your eye on the prize. Just do your thing. I mean, the world goes by way too fast to try to keep up with everybody. So if you just mind your own business and be your own person and follow your heart, I'm still on that because I truly believe that makes a successful person. If you can follow your heart and go with your gut, I think you'll be fine. But it's, a lot of people have a hard time wondering who's doing this over here and what's going on over here. And they forget about, what their role is and what they're supposed to do. And they get so consumed with all these negative outside influences that it really starts to affect them as a person and their job performance. And then they wonder why all of a sudden their job goes down the toilet and they're not making the money they wish they were making. And I mean, you got to be careful. Like you said earlier, you have to be careful of what you let into your head. You have to be careful of what you're letting take control of your life, because most of it has nothing to do with you. Just
Right.
stay out of it, just.
Well, that's the other thing. Like some people may actually be in the career that they love and that they want to be in. And they'll say, "Well, I don't know." All of a sudden there's like all this drama. And that's why I brought up being, defensive, because it seems like that's one of the big issues where somebody, maybe made a mistake and then they just won't own it. And it creates this, friction within an office, with coworkers. And it's like, all you have to do is own your mistake and people can accept it and move on. But when somebody doesn't own a mistake, then that person gets angry and they're going over here and going, "Guess what that person did? Guess how they were? They, I caught them, doing this and they couldn't even like own it." And then that person's going on to the next person. So stop it. Don't create that environment at work. That is not worth it. If you want to be, even if, like I said, it's not your dream job, but you're making good money and, you want that good culture there within your office. People want to be with people that they like, so they are, happy to go to work. So, and maybe you don't think you're the problem, but maybe you can just be part of the, making sure that, it's a happy environment, because, one person can make a change in an office, because it's like one of those things. I think, I don't know why, but it seems like people just are more attracted to negativity than it's too easy to be positive, I guess.
Negativity sells papers and magazines. So, that's what that makes a good story. I personally don't have time for it because I don't watch the news, and and people have negative things to say about that, but it's so negative and it's so awful and it's very hurtful. And it really drags me down and makes me very sad. And
Well, there are other ways of being able to keep up with, with life.
there's totally other ways to keep up with it. I don't need all the, you know, I don't know. I just don't need all the extra. Just I want to know what's important, what's topic, but I don't want to get drugged down with just all the negative stuff. It's just very hurtful, and it's already happened. It's not like I can do anything. So
right,
it's just
because you're like me. There's just some things that I can't. It's so hard for me.
It's too much,
especially
if it's negative.
Yeah, well, when it just comes back to like, I know like murders happen and things like that, but boy, it can really like depress you. It's situations, they're just horrible. I mean, horrifying, completely horrifying. So it's really hard sometimes for people that are very emotional, to pay attention and see that stuff. But you, again, leave that out of the workplace. It doesn't belong, right? And I think even right now with everything going on, it's almost hard. It's almost impossible to not really, bring worldly events into the office place too. And you really want to, I don't know, try to make
it so hard because so many of these topics nowadays, because the world has basically come to a stop, and the things that are happening nowadays are very hurtful and very it's just too much. It's too much for it. There's so much wrong and so much hate in the world, and I just don't understand a lot of it, but so unnecessary. I feel like I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, don't cry.
It's just a lot of times it is hard to keep it out of the office, and it's hard to keep it light and bright and happy, and because it especially what's going on right now, it hits an emotional chord with everybody,
Yes. That's like I was just telling a friend, actually, she's a caregiver, and she was like, she had called me because she said, "Oh, well, you're always clever and you can think of some things like, my client, like, we don't want, to take," because it's an older couple she actually takes care of and helps, with everything. But the doctors say, don't leave unless you're going to the doctor's office, right? So, but they were both getting really like, "Oh, we need to go somewhere." I was like, "I know, like, why don't you like create like a beach theme, like in their living room or something, to where they can, like, it's fun. Yes, it sounds goofy, whatever, but if you can like,
sounds amazing.
Get some blow up, beach balls and I don't know, kind of just do something like that." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, that'll be a great idea." And I was like, get some grass skirts and some hula hoops and play some, just kind of get them going, because then that was something they can get their exercise too, if you can get them up. It was like, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe," like, she was like, "That's so simple. I didn't even think about that." I was like, that's why you should just talk to other people. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
my mom used to do growing up. She would have like theme nights where she would pick a food from somewhere around the world, and we would be exposed to different entrees from around the world, and she would go all out and stuff. So
I love that.
Yeah, fun stuff. But yeah, you can totally talk to other people and incorporate their ideas, and they plant a seed, and you never know what's going to grow in you. Your ideas will start to sprout.
And that's the other thing. If you are looking for another job or another position or something out there, talk to people, put it out there, y'all. I mean, I hear all the time, and it's like, "Oh wait, somebody said they're hiring," and I remember somebody's looking for something. Who was it? And I have to start like thinking, "Oh yeah, this person, they need a job and they have this certificate or whatever." Like, put it out there. Some people,
even if it's something you've never done, ask if they're willing to train. Maybe it's a field you've never been in before. You never know until you ask the questions. And people are afraid to ask the questions because they're afraid of rejection. But what they don't understand is no does not mean no forever. It means not right now. So, you You can ask that question 6 months to a year. So what? Just keep asking the question. Eventually, somebody will say yes. I have agents that I've been pursuing for years. And I constantly, no, not right now, no. And then guess what? One day they'll be like, hey, guess what? Here, I want to give you a try. And I am so happy when that happens. But at the same time, it goes back to treating everybody the same. And
Right.
Eventually good things come out of it. If not, good friendships come out of it. It's whatever. But things happen the way they're supposed to. But you have to pay attention to the little hints along the way.
Right. Well, there's people that, it's funny because I do know, like, again, getting back to the different personalities, there's some people that really like to feel pursued, right? Because they feel important. And it's like, well, they will eventually bring you business if you keep it up, and it's interesting because as you were telling that story, I thought in my head is I had a business coach a few years ago, and I was asking him, like, well, how long should I keep trying? And he said, well, until they tell you to get lost. I was like, oh, okay.
And then I'd still come back.
But it's funny because even now sometimes I think that we all feel, especially in any type of salesperson, where you might have been your boss to say, okay, get out there, market to this person, go deliver them, this or that, or, whatever, host a class or take this one to lunch. And you're doing it and you're like, gosh, like how many times am I going to do this? I'm investing my time and energy into this. How many more times do I have to do before they can get, finally buy something from us or choose to do business with us, And, the thing of it is it might be the first time, it might be the 20th time. Mm-hmm. It does pay off,
Well, and you also get smart with your time and energy. Where I'm going to treat everybody the same. If I kind of know this person isn't, really wanting to do business with me at the time, I'm still going to treat them the same. I'm still going to bring them a little, whatever. But, maybe I'm not going to spend that extra, energy and kind of disperse it along the way. But I'm not going to forget who they are and that I want to treat them like everyone else. But if I know they're busy or if I know they don't want to do business with me, that's fine. We don't have to sit and talk for 20 minutes. I understand. I get it. Your time is very valuable. But if you ever decide you want to, I always want people to feel like they can call me, they can text me, they can whatever.
Right. And with that said, I'm going to put your information up there. So, if y'all have any questions and want to reach out to Kelly, please do so. She loves to, help educate people on, what she does. And, if you're a high school kid who's just graduated high school, congratulations, by the way, it's very weird and exciting at the same time, right? But, maybe you're looking for a career that, you really want to kind of get into marketing. And, if you want to reach out to myself or Kelly, we'd love to kind of maybe talk to you and see what we can do to maybe get you in the right direction. So, please, we're here to help in any way that we can. And realtors or, any home sellers, if you're refinancing your home and you don't know what title company to go to, I mean, we have some great people right here. So you can reach out to Kelly and, she'll get you all squared away and taken care of. So,
Oh, and I wanted to tell you, Jennifer,
yeah.
I think it's Wednesday. I'm going off memory right now, but we have a class we have introduced, and it's how to market your business on TikTok.
Oh, are you really?
We have a class that we do Zoom classes, and the schedule changes every week. And so it's on my Facebook page. So if anybody's interested in seeing the class schedule or wanting one, they can contact me, or they can go to my Facebook page. It's on there. And you just open up your Zoom app, enter in the meeting ID, and there it is. There's the class.
That's great. Kelly, whenever we hop off here, if you want to jump back on, the post, and you can put the information, down below. So anybody that may be listening wants to be able to attend that class, because I know a lot of people are starting to get on board, with their TikToks. I know I was trying to get you. I've been pulling you out. I haven't tried here in a couple of weeks to get you out there, but I know everybody's
Dude, the quarantine was heavy on my heart. It was rough stuff for me. I'm not gonna lie. It was really rough stuff. So I'm glad that Texas is kind of open and trying to get back to whatever our normal is going to be. So at least I'm able every now and then to see some friendly faces and kind of just recharge my energy.
Well, you can always call me, and I will do my best to cheer you up.
I know you will.
I will try to whatever I got to do. But again, y'all, I really want y'all to, really think about what your passions are, and share them with people, because again, there might be some opportunities that lie ahead, and and it can change your entire life. So don't be afraid to talk to people, tell people what you want. I always tell everybody I'm not a mind reader, so I don't know. I try to be, but it doesn't quite work. So, but you have to tell us, I don't know why some people are very like, if they need something or they want something, that they feel they have a hard time trying to tell other people, like, wanting a new job or what is my goal one day. I want to get here. I mean, there wasn't that too long. I was having a conversation with someone and I was telling them, I would like to be a speaker. And they said, "Oh, I didn't know you want to be a speaker." I'm like, "Well, you do now." I mean, and the next thing you know, I got a phone call. So to get something scheduled, it happens that quickly. So it can happen to you that quickly. You just have to put things out there, and talk to people. And if you're not working right now and you're just at home and you're vegging out to Netflix, you're not communicating with people. You're not, you can't do that. You can't shut yourself off from the world and people, and expect to find another position someplace else. So you can do it.
I don't think Netflix is hiring.
No, but I have a friend that works for Netflix.
Are you really?
Yeah, she worked for Paramount for many years, and then she finally left and went to Netflix, just because of the freedom and stuff that they have. But but that's funny. She has a really cool job because all she does is like watch movies. And, well, she does test on viewers' reactions.
Huh.
So there's so many jobs out there. Like there's things that you could do that I don't think most people even think about. Like kids these days, it's always like, oh, I want to be a baseball player, and oh, I want to be a vet or a doctor or a dentist, whatever. But there's so many different careers out there that they're not even familiar with. So you also really have to kind of expose your children and give them. One of my friends, Nicole, I've always been so impressed by her because she has taken her kids to different, taking them places to see what it's about, what they do. So she really tries to open their eyes to other things that maybe they wouldn't have really ever considered.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
like Kim's daughter did the Disney intern program.
Yes.
I wish that was around when I was in school. I would have totally done that. But
yeah.
Probably never would have come back though. But you
would have been a lifer at Disney, huh?
Oh my gosh, I love Disney.
Yes. Well, yeah, but she had such an amazing, opportunity. And so, I mean, and you just never know. I mean, I don't think we ever, like you said, I don't think I ever knew that was an opportunity.
But, talking with people there that work at Disney, and so many of them did the college intern program and just never went back. They just stayed with Disney. I'm just like, wow, that's awesome.
That really doesn't surprise me.
I mean, Disney is a well-oiled machine. It's just amazing.
It is definitely a machine. Yes. Well, Kelly, do you have anything you want to add? Tell us anything positive that's happened here recently?
Well, we have released Zachem, and that is a way you can send earnest money to our office through an app. So no longer having to go and retrieve checks and everything like that. It goes from the app. You enter in the information, take a picture of the check. It goes straight to the office that the contract is going to, and it's attached to the file.
Yeah, it's awesome. It makes our lives a lot easier, I will say.
Oh yeah.
Especially right now, right? Like it's kind of nice. But what about personally? Anything positive?
Oh,
I know
mean,
positive things.
I'm
I love your picture, by the way.
Huh?
Your ballet picture. That is so pretty.
Oh, my daughter drew that.
Wow.
So Riley drew that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She's so talented.
She's
How old was she when she drew that?
She was 15, 16.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, she's pretty great. So I'm really proud of her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very detailed.
I know. She's, I think she's amazing, but if you ask her, she's very humble and she's like,
She's a sweet girl.
Crazy.
I know.
But I don't know. I'm happy that people are starting to emerge and I'm just not, I'm not living in fear, and I'm just trying to get out there.
Remember, fear is only false evidence appearing real. So
yeah, I'm just, trying to keep my heart happy and get out there and just do whatever I can and, just stay up because I'm, like I told you, the whole quarantine thing really it was awful. I didn't like it.
Don't do that because you've always been a bright, shining star, and people need bright, shining stars like you to cheer them up. So don't hide. I know. Continue to shine on others to help them. You have that gift and that ability. So just remember that. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Well, guys, thank you so much for, watching. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Kelly. Kelly's information's on the screen. And if you have, questions about, title companies, again, you can reach out to Kelly. She'll post the information about the upcoming class that she has on marketing on TikTok, which is going to be via Zoom. So she'll put that up there. And again, if anyone has any questions, again, I can't stress enough, please ask. That's what we do. We love to help people. So Kelly, I appreciate you taking your time to come on here and, kind of talk about, our passions and,
everything else.
And, sometimes it's just good to talk about staying positive and get that energy, going, because it really can give you that gas to get going, down the road.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's nice to be reminded. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me. I love chatting with you and I love you to death. Mwah.
Yes, I know. I love you too. And I appreciate it. So until next time, guys, y'all stay safe, stay healthy, and stay positive. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.